All right. I have to say thank you to the brave soul who emailed me saying that several people were having troubles with this problem, number 18 on the ACE, because without the question, I wouldn't know to help. And remember, help will always be given at Slavens to those who ask for it. Just as sort of a side comment, it's really going to be helpful if you preview the work that's being asked of you before we have the Google Meet session. That way, if you at least preview it, you can see if there are any questions that you don't think you're going to be able to do okay. And then you will have time to ask the questions during the session, and you may just help someone other than yourself. So that's our little public service announcement for the day. Here we go. Problem number 18. Kadian wants a milk and yogurt smoothie. Delicious. And she uses the nutritional information in exercise 17, which I've placed right here. And she wants her smoothie to have at most 400 calories and at least 20 grams of protein. Okay, so what is she really asking? She doesn't want to consume more than 400 calories, and she wants to have at least 20 grams of protein. Great. We need to write a system of inequalities so that we can graph them and figure out a region that will satisfy both requirements. And then once we create we'll make our graph, it'll be perfect. All right, so let's deal with the 400 calories first, right? So let's look at this nutritional information. We have milk, strawberry yogurt, and ice. Milk has 100 calories and 9 grams of protein. Strawberry yogurt has 190 calories and 13 grams of protein. And then ice has nothing of nothing. Okay, so we can disregard the ice because it doesn't add calories and it doesn't add any protein. So we're just looking at milk and strawberry yogurt. Now, I'm going to say M is equal to 1 cup of milk. And I'm also going to say that Y is equal to 1 cup of yogurt. Okay, my spelling challenges are quite amazing. There we go, yogurt. All right, and so if I have 100 calories for 1 cup of milk, that means if I have 2 cups, I'll have 200 calories and 300 for 3 cups and so on and so forth. So I'm multiplying 100 times the number of cups. Same idea for the yogurt. If I have 1 cup, I have 190 calories. 2 cups would be 380 and so on and so forth. So wrong equation. Oh, there we go, much better. We get our equation that says this. So we have 100 times cups of milk plus 190 times the number of cups of yogurt, and that needs to be less than 400. Okay, and then we can do the same exercise for the protein. So 9 times M, 13 times Y, and we want it to be bigger than 20 or equal to 20 grams of protein. Oh, look at that, there we go. And notice how both of these have the equals bar, which means we'll have the same kind of line for both inequalities. That would be a closed line, a solid line. I've been noticing that in the work that you've been submitting, I'm having a lot of people only showing closed lines. You really need to take care and pay attention to the type of symbol, because if it does not have this little line right here, you must have a open line, which will be dashed. Your graph will be incorrect and graded as such if you have the wrong type of line. It's an important piece to this puzzle. All right, so enough of that. So I'm looking at this equation. I can't help but notice that 13 and 9 and 20, they don't share any factors. So if I were to get this into slope-intercept form, I would have myself a hot mess. I really would. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the intercepts. I'm going to find the x-intercept, I'm going to find the y-intercept, and I'm going to connect the dots to create a line. So in practice, all I'm going to do is have a table, right? I have milk and I have yogurt. And so I'm only going to make 2 entries in the table. And I'm going to say I'm going to start with 0 grams of milk. I'm going to figure out how many, cups. And I'm going to figure out how many cups of yogurt I can use. And then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to figure out if I have 0 yogurt, how many cups of milk will get me the 20 grams of protein. So let's go ahead and do that. So if milk is 0, that's going to make this 0. Okay, that doesn't add anything. So then really all I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to divide 20 by 13. And I get 1.5. And I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So I have 1.5. All right, so next, instead of having no milk, I'm going to have no yogurt. So if that's a big fat 0, I'm just going to divide 20 by 9. Okay, so I get 2.2. All right, and so I can go ahead and graph this. All right, so I have 0 over and 1.5 up, and that's going to be right in between the 1 and the 2, halfway. All right, perfect. And then I have 2.2 comma 0, so there's my 2. And each one of these lines, you'll notice that I counted 5 of these intermediate lines between the whole cups. So each line is 0.2 of a cup, so that's perfect. Again, I'll have a closed line because it could be equal. And so I can go ahead and cheat and use my little line tool. All right. And then I can do the shading. The shading part, we need to shade either all the points above the line or all the points below the line will give me 20 grams of protein. Now, clearly it's going to be above the line, but let's just double check. So I'm going to pick a point that's not on the line. How about 0, 0? And I'm going to plug that in to the equation. So if y is 0, this whole thing is 0. If m is 0, the whole thing is 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0. And I'm getting the statement 0 is greater than or equal 20. That is not true. That is just completely false. So since that's a false statement, I know 0, 0 is not in the shaded region. So I'm going to go ahead and take the liberty and shade everything that is not in the region that 0, 0 is in. Okay, there we go. All right, first one done. Now, considering I'm giving a long-winded explanation for everything, I'm willing to bet you're able to do the next one on your own. Let's see if you can beat me. Challenge you to a race. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go cups of milk, cups of yogurt. I'm going to start with 0 cups of milk and 0 cups of yogurt. So if I have 0 cups of milk, 0 times 100 is 0. Oh, so I just have to divide 400 by 190. So 400 divided by 190. Anytime now. Is equal to 2.1. All right. Next step. Same idea. We'll have 0 yogurt. Oh, well, then that's going to be 4 cups of milk, right? 4 times 0 is 400. So I can have at most 4 cups of milk. All right. So now let's plot those points. And move this over here. All right, so 0, comma 2.1, so I go 0 over 2.1 up, which is right. Nope, there's 2, so 2.1 will be in between 2 and 2.2. 4 over 0 up is going to be conveniently right over here. And so we can connect the dots. I'm going to bring that back over. And this time it's going to be red. Oh, yeah. So I really want my red line to be a little more fun. So I'm just going to simply bring this up to the top. There we go. Okay, and then I can bring this back. Okay, that's too far. And this is really why you watch the video, to see me struggle with a slow computer processing and moving. All right, so great. So now let's plug in 0, comma 0 again. And so at 0, comma 0, we'll have 0 milk, that's 0 calories. 0 yogurt, that's 0 calories. So is 0 less than 400? You better believe it is. So then we can shade the region that is below the line because it contains 0, comma 0. Use a slightly smaller thingamajig here because I don't have as big of an area. And so now I get a graph that looks like this, which means all of the points in this sort of purple region here satisfy both our desire to have less than 400 calories and more than 20 grams of protein. Therefore, when we make our smoothie, we can pick a proportion of milk to yogurt anywhere that is inside of this little region. We want it a little thicker over here, with a higher yogurt content. If we want it a little bit thinner and a little more drinkable, then we need to pick a point that's farther over here. And that's how we do it. I hope this was helpful. Please remember, help will always be given to anyone at Slavens who asks for it, even virtual Slavens. And office hours are always a helpful time to get your questions answered. I hope you have a good day. Goodbye. Oh.